Jiro here for Umbra Games with the review of Yakuza Kiwami for PlayStation 4. The Yakuza series began back on PlayStation 2, released in the US in 2006, with the most recent title being Yakuza 6 on PlayStation 4. In an attempt to grab more players into this world, Sega rebuilt the first game under the name Yakuza Kiwami, Kiwami meaning extreme, and released it for PlayStation 4 in August of 2017. Yakuza Kiwami 2 was released in August of 2018. Plans to remaster more games and send them to the US shores are in action, but the word is they will just be remastered versions of 3, 4, and 5 that were originally released on PlayStation 3, not getting the full Kiwami treatment. After having spent some time with Yakuza Kiwami and previously playing Yakuza 0, including a review on the channel for it if you're interested, it seems like 0 may have been a byproduct of the Kiwamis or vice versa. The fictional red light district of Kamurocho is the playground for very nearly the entirety of all events of Kiwami, and it pretty much looks the exact same as it did in 0. I haven't played the original PS2 version of Yakuza, but from what I've read it seems there are quite a few improvements and additional content that help tie it into some of the additions and pieces of 0, which takes place 10 years before the start of 1. We're placed in the shiny shoes of Kiryu Kazuma, a lieutenant for the Japanese mob known as the Yakuza, in the year 1995. In the first chapter, a plot unfolds that sends Kiryu to prison for 10 years, being let out for parole in 2005, which is when the majority of the game takes place. A lot has changed in those 10 years, including Kiryu losing a lot of his combat skill and power, a great excuse for re-leveling things up, and he lost his opportunity to begin his own Yakuza family under the Dojima clan. To make things worse, his childhood friend and potential love interest, Yumi, has disappeared, as has 10 billion yen from the parent Tojo clan. The game plays out in 10 chapters as Kiryu helps piece his world back together while avoiding the dangers inherent with organized crime. Yakuza Kiwami is a third-person, over-the-shoulder game where you're pretty free to roam the open Kamurocho district as widely as you please. Missions that progress the story will show up as a pink blip on your map and minimap, and throughout the city you'll find dozens of side quests, and as the series always promises, tons of other random side content to keep yourself busy. Combat takes place in real time either through the story missions in their immediate vicinity, or by encountering packs of roaming street thugs or other Yakuza, or hooligans while roaming the street. Once engaged in battle, you'll have a limited space to use as the arena until all your foes are knocked out. Kiryu has 4 stances that can be switched to at any time using the D-pad, and the stances need to be called upon sometimes based on your foe's fighting style. The Brawler mode is a basic all-around style with medium speed and power, but if you face some quick moving and dodging enemies, the Rush stance can help with quick attacks, but lower power. Completely surrounded, switching to Beast mode and grabbing environmental objects to swing into large groups can help out a lot. Finally, the Dragon stance is a powerful one with decent speed, but also begins with the fewest combos and moves acquired by participating in the game's side content. Combat does get that repetitive feeling a bit quickly, as you'll find yourself doing a lot of the same square, square, square triangle attacks in each stance to perform the basic combos, and only occasionally working in the new moves you've learned from the skill trees. You gain experience for a handful of tasks, including every enemy you defeat and meal you try at diners, and it fills up a bar at the top. Each time the bar fills, you get a point that can be combined with other points and used to unlock nodes on the 3 skill trees divided by soul, body, and tech. These grant new moves for the 3 basic stances, resistances, boost damage, and increase HP. The 4th tree provides hints about what must be done to open up the Dragon Stance stuff that I mentioned a second ago. There are consumable items, including medicines and food that you can carry with you in your inventory to pause and use during battle. You can also equip 1 piece of gear and 2 accessories at a time to help boost defense and blade and bullet resistance. You can also keep a stock of limited use weapons that can be pulled out in combat by tapping the D-pad in the same direction of the stance you're already in. Something I had to look up online to figure out how to do. Speaking of which, it's a little odd that the tutorials before Kiryu goes to jail talk about power moves you can do to boss-type enemies when they enter a rejuvenation state, but then they're a part of what's lost after the jail sentence, and they're sitting nondescriptly on the skill tree, one for each stance. Just frustrating to enter that first post-jail boss fight without that set of powerful skills. Now, as the Yakuza games do and Shenmue before it, there are a ton of little activities to participate in. The sub-stories are here, with I think the highest number I saw being 60, a few of which were pretty easily finished with just a single encounter. But there's also minigames, dice games, batting cages, karaoke, and slot car racing. Some minigames have sub-stories involved with them, but all have some kind of threshold that helps contribute CP, a currency used to unlock longer dash times, gear, accessories, and a few other random things from a specific vendor. Now, as playing Yakuza 0 did, Yakuza Kiwami continued to impress me with its story. Yakuza 0 technically being the 7th core game out in the series, I thought we were going to get on board a slow-moving soap opera with the same characters over and over, but so far it's showing promise with organizational murders, betrayals, and changes in high-stakes plays going on. This one did have a fairly slow-moving opening segment, about 90 minutes to 2 hours before we really get into some real action, but that's not to say the story that's occurring then isn't worth the time. For time's sake this time around, I didn't pour a bunch of time into the side events and finished the game in about 15 to 16 hours, so Overall, it does feel a bit shorter in story than Zero did. Again, the game is all spoken Japanese with English subtitles, and some of the voice acting, looking at you, Goro Majima, is a bit over the top, stylistically so, but overall is very well acted. Graphically, this game looks nearly identical to Zero, and both games present the environments very well, and feature quite a bit of detail in main character models. Overall, Yakuza Kiwami presents a great, slightly shorter, twisting story, a solid, albeit slightly repetitive feeling combat system, lots of side content, tons of crazy characters and situations you'll get yourself into, a fairly extensive leveling system, and great world and character presentation. Yakuza Kiwami falls into what I call an open-world mission procedural game, and rated with that criteria on that genre scale, hits a 76 out of 100 for me. This is Jiro for Umbra Games. Thanks for watching.